What I'm working on today is my 1962 Karmann Ghia. You can see the car's in pretty rough shape. However, it's actually a good running and driving car. I've gone through some of the suspension. It's got new wheels and tires. Most of the braking system has gone through. Interior is decent. Engine and transmission, everything works as it should. It's a bit of an ugly duckling, but we'll get her fixed up. Looks like somebody decided to go crazy with red spray paint at some point. Original color is this light blue, which is called Pacific Blue, which is actually pretty rare color. And I intend on bringing it back to that color eventually. While I was chasing a fuel leak last week, I pulled the gas tank, which is right here, and I found the fuel leak. But additionally, when I saw the brake master cylinder, I noticed the little rubber cap that is normally here was really cracked and it was leaking fluid all over the place. And these early cars have a single circuit brake master cylinder, which means if your brakes fail, you have zero brakes everywhere. Later cars had a dual circuit brake master cylinder, which means if the front fails, you still have the back brakes and vice versa. So I went ahead and ordered some new parts. Here is the new brake master cylinder. See, dual circuit. Got a new bottle to go with the two different fillers, and for good measure, I got new rubber brake hoses, which mine look good, but it doesn't hurt to change them. They're cheap enough. And metal brake lines, because they're the ones I have are original, and it wouldn't hurt to replace them. So we're gonna bend these into place and get it done. So first things first, we're gonna have to get the bolts out of the back of the master cylinder. This is the inside of the car. Obviously, this is the pedal cluster, and the master cylinder bolts right there, right behind the brake pedal. And just like that, those two 13mm bolts have been pulled. On the other end, here's the brake master cylinder, and in theory, should be loose. Okay, feels loose. Let's break these brake lines, and brake master should come right out. By the way, it's not a bad idea to hit those bolts for the metal brake lines with some PB blaster and to break them loose before you try and remove the brake master cylinder. Don't be like me. So here's the old brake master cylinder, and there's the new brake master cylinder. The way it worked, this used to be where it fed from the bottle, and here you had a front and a rear. Well, so the new one is going to be similar in a way that the front will be here and the rear will be here. The bottom two is going to be the switches, which I did buy a new switch as well, so that I have two. Some people plug up the rear one and just use the front one. I figured it made sense to have two switches, one for the front and one for the rear. And this will go to the rear brake lines, and this will be front passenger and front driver. So first things first, we're gonna pull these out, and we're gonna mount the reservoir right on top. Should line right up. Some people prefer to run brake lines and mount this upwards. On later Karmann Ghias, it would have been mounted up here right behind the radial area, and the lines would have gone down. On this early car, there's this little reservoir right here, and there's the line that went down. But I'm just gonna keep it simple and mount the reservoir directly on top of the brake master. So these guys right here that go to the reservoir normally should pull right off super easy. Should not need a screwdriver to pry them off. It would probably ruin these little rubber grommets here. So I think you could just pull on these gently, but they'll slowly come out, no problem. Now this should just literally press right on. Let's move the old one out of the way. Try not to knock my phone down. And there it is. And there it is. Next, I'm going to take this brake switch off of the old brake master cylinder. So I have it here in my crappy little desk vise, and I'm going to use this 22 millimeter socket to break this loose. And just like that, that comes right out. And I will install the old one and the new one down here on the bottom two ports. Next, we're going to bench bleed the brake master cylinder. And what we're gonna do, I don't actually have a kit. You can buy kits to do this, but you can also kind of do it with things you have laying around. This is an old brake line, and it's gonna get installed to here, and then with a clear tube is gonna go into the brake master cylinder reservoir, which we're gonna fill with fluid. We're gonna do that the front and the back at the same time, and then we're gonna use a screwdriver to push in where the rod would normally push when you hit the brake pedal, and that's going to circulate fluid from where the lines go into the brake master, and it's going to fill it up with fluid, and then we'll be ready to install it. So here's my contraption. You can see one brake line, rubber hose into the reservoir, and here's another brake line. This hasn't been bent yet, but it's short enough that I can use it, and also goes into the reservoir with a hose. And the idea is, like I said, to push fluid using a screwdriver, and it'll circulate through until there's no more air in the system, and we can go ahead and install it. I know these are bad camera angles, but you see the reservoir is full, and as I'm pushing that rod, the fluid is starting to circulate through, and once it's completely circulated, you should be good to go. Now, after about 3 minutes of pumping, you can see the lines are full of fluid, no air. Same here, full of fluid, no air. And the brake master should be ready to install. So we're going to remove all this stuff here. I'm going to top off the fluid, put the cap on, and put it back in for installation. And just like that, we got a brake master cylinder ready to go. Now, if you're smarter than me, you would have saved the little plastic caps like this one right here. If you would have taken them out, you take these out gently, you can use them to temporarily plug these lines so brake fluid doesn't leak through. But the way I pulled the mine off was a little rough, and they didn't really seal very well. So I took this old piece of brake line, I guess, that has the correct ends, and I just bent it to fit, so that while I'm installing everything, I'm not leaking any brake fluid everywhere. And back over here, we're gonna get rid of this hose right here. This used to go on top of the old brake master cylinder. We no longer need that, so let's scooch it out of the way for now. Then let's make some space for the brake master cylinder. So here's the metal line that goes to the passenger side wheel. I'm just lifting it up and out of the way a little bit. And the one on the passenger side I have already removed. And this is the line that goes to the back brakes. So we're gonna just scooch it just a little bit because we're gonna have to rebend everything to fit the new locations of the master cylinder. Alright, the brake master is now installed, nice and snug, ready to go. Now we're gonna bend the lines. I don't have a new rear line, which is this one, so I'm gonna have to carefully bend it so that it goes into the back port of the brake master cylinder. But I do have new front lines that you can buy. These are cheap, they're only like $8 each, and you can bend these either with a brake line bender, which is just a tool you can buy on Amazon, or if you feel confident and you go slowly, you can also just bend these by hand. So what I'm going to do is make a line that goes from here to here, and then I'm going to replace this old one from here to here, and I'm going to bend it by hand. Alright, there's the rear line in place, ready to go. I bent it by hand. Make sure you take good care to bend it very slowly if you do it by hand, and so you don't get any kinks or any cracks. And you got to get it almost perfect. You can't force it on there, otherwise the threads are going to get stripped and it's not going to be very good. So just go slowly, bend it a little bit, bend it a little bit more until it's completely lined up, and you can screw it in. And here you go, I got this one bent, no kinks, slowly but surely. And as you can see here, it's maybe not perfect, it'll still need a little bit of adjustment, but it's gonna go from here to the brake master there. So there is that brake line. It was super easy. I barely had to do any changes to get it installed. And there it is, brake master cylinder done. Here's the brake line that I made last. It goes to the passenger side wheel. Easy to bend, but it was difficult to tighten down here on that bolt because it's almost up against the fluid reservoir, and to get it lined up perfect and start tightening was a bit of a pain. Hooked up the wires for the switch, and doesn't seem to be that there's any leaks. Next, I am going to do the soft lines that go to the wheels, both sides. But I'm not gonna do that today, so that's it for this installation. Now, this wasn't a perfect tutorial on how to replace a brake master cylinder or how to upgrade from single to dual circuit brake master, but I hope you did learn something along the way. And also check out some of the other great videos and tutorials that are on YouTube. There's some people that know way more than I do. This isn't my first air-cooled Volkswagen. I've had other Karmann Ghias and Type 3s, and actually never had a Beetle or a Bus, but I do love this platform. They're fun to work on, they're easy to work on, and every time I do something I learn, so hopefully you learn something along with me. Anyways, next time around I'm going to replace the soft brake lines in the front and bleed the whole system, get the gas tank reinstalled, and get this car going. Thank you for spending your time here with me. I appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. Take care.